is a place in Europe that you will never find on any map. It has its own government, its own army, its own money, its own flag. But the United Nations does not know it exists. No country in the world has officially recognized it. You cannot find it in any atlas. And yet, nearly 450,000 people wake up there every single morning. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the whole world moved forward. But this place did not get that message. Here, Lenin still stands tall in the town square. Soviet flags still fly above government buildings. The hammer and sickle is still painted on walls, on coins, on uniforms. The 500-year-old Bender fortress still stands here, silent, scarred, and full of secrets. And in the wild rivers nearby, you can still find the European pond turtle, one of the rarest creatures left on this continent. It is as if someone pressed pause in 1991 and forgot to press play. This place is called Transnistria. Today, we go inside the country that does not exist. Geography. Look at a map of Europe. Find Moldova, a small country sandwiched between Romania and Ukraine. Now look to its right side. You will see a thin strip of land running along a river. That river is called the Dniester. And that thin strip, that is Transnistria. Smaller than the state of Delaware in America. Just 4,163 square kilometers. Nearly 450,000 people packed into small industrial towns and flat, open land. The summers are burning hot. The winters are brutally cold. The wind cuts through your jacket like a knife. But the weather is not the hardest thing here. You see gray, Soviet gray, tall concrete apartment blocks, old factories with broken windows, wide empty streets built for military parades, statues of leaders who died decades ago, still standing, still watching. This landscape does not look like Europe in 2024. It looks like a photograph from 1975 that somehow never stopped being real. Unreal places. Most countries show you their best face first. Transnistria does not care about that. Tiraspol, the capital city, is called Tiraspol. Walk into the city center and the first thing you see is Lenin. A giant bronze statue. Arms stretched forward. Eyes looking ahead. As if he is still giving orders. Around him, Soviet flags. Red and green. Flying proudly above every government building. No other European capital looks like this. Everywhere else, these statues were torn down. These flags were burned. These symbols were buried. Not here. In Tiraspol, 1985 never ended. The shops are simple. The streets are wide and empty. Old Lada cars drive slowly past grey buildings. Women in headscarves carry heavy bags from the market. It feels less like a city and more like a time machine. Bender Fortress, 30 minutes from Tiraspol. Something ancient rises from the earth. The Bender Fortress. Its walls are cracked. Its towers are broken. But it is still standing after 500 years. This fortress was built by the Ottoman Empire in the 1500. It has survived wars with Russia, Sweden, and the Soviet Union itself. Napoleon's enemies passed through here. World War II left bullet holes in its walls. Every crack in this stone has a story. Every broken tower holds 100 years of paintures. You stand inside and the air feels different. Heavier, older, like the walls are still holding their breath. Dniester River banks, but then everything changes. Leave the grey city behind. Walk 10 minutes to the Dniester River. And suddenly, green. Quiet. Alive. The river moves slowly. Trees hang over the water. Birds call out from the branches. The air smells like wet grass and clean water. Local families sit on the banks. Children jump into the river laughing. Old men fish in silence. Women lay out picnic blankets like there is nothing to worry about in this world. This is the same country, the same people, but a completely different feeling. Outside, the world ignores Transnistria. Inside, life goes on. Peaceful, unhurried, real. Soviet architecture strip. Walk back into any town and the grey returns. But look closer and you will see something extraordinary. Every building tells a story. Hammer and sickle carved above doorways. Soviet murals painted on walls, faded but still colorful. Giant red stars bolted onto rooftops. This is not a museum. Nobody planned this as a tourist attraction. This is just Tuesday in Transnistria. The whole country is a living, breathing monument to a world that no longer exists anywhere else on Earth. You do not need a history book here. Just open your eyes and walk. Economy. Now here is a question. If your country does not exist, what does your money look like? In Transnistria, they use the Transnistrian ruble. It has its own coins, its own notes, its own design. But take it to any bank outside this country and they will hand it back to you. No bank in the world accepts it. No airport, no exchange counter, nowhere. It is money that only works inside a country that does not officially exist. By European standards, Transnistria is very poor. The average person here earns between $200 and $300 every month. The GDP per person is around $3,000 a year. Compare that to neighboring Romania, where people earn 4 times more. But here is the strange part. Life here is incredibly cheap. A loaf of bread costs 20 cents. A month of rent costs around $50. A full hot meal at a local restaurant, less than $2. So people survive. Somehow. They always do. Most people work in 3 places. The steel factory, owned by a powerful private company called Sheriff Group. The government, or the land. In the city of Tiraspol, life looks Soviet but functional. Buses run. Lights work. Shops are open. But drive 30 minutes into the villages and the clocks go back even further. Farmers still use horses. Old women grow their own vegetables. Children play outside until dark because there is nothing else to do. 2 worlds. 1 invisible country. Wildlife. You would not expect a forgotten country to have beautiful nature. But Transnistria will surprise you. The Dniester River is the heart of this land. And beneath its surface, life is still thriving. The river carries rare fish that have lived here for thousands of years. The Hutchin, one of Europe's largest and rarest river fish, still swims in these waters. Fishermen here do not use modern equipment. No sonar, no motors, just a wooden boat, handmade net, and patience. The same way their grandfathers fished, and their grandfathers before them. The river does not know this country is invisible to the world. It just keeps flowing. The steppes move away from the river and the land opens up wide. Flat, endless, quiet. These are the steppes, vast open grasslands that stretch across Eastern Europe. And hiding inside them, the European ground squirrel. This small, golden creature is disappearing across Europe. Habitat destroyed. Population shrinking. Scientists are worried. But here in Transnistria, where development stopped decades ago, their grass was never touched. Their tunnels were never disturbed. And so they survived. Quietly, unknowingly protected by a frozen country. Above them, hundreds of wild birds cross the sky. Transnistria sits on a major bird migration route. Every season, Thousands of birds stop here to rest on their long journey between continents. They do not need a passport either. The accidental paradise here is the strangest nature fact of all. Transnistria has heavy industry. Old Soviet factories still pump smoke into the air. Steel plants run day and night. But just kilometers away, farmers grow food with no chemicals. No pesticides. No artificial fertilizers. Not because they care deeply about organic farming, but because after the Soviet Union collapsed, they could not afford the chemicals anymore. And so accidentally, the land healed itself. Wild flowers returned. Insects came back. The soil stayed clean. This is the contradiction of Transnistria, a polluted industrial zone sitting right next to accidental paradise. The Lower Dniester National Park begins just at the border with Moldova. Wildlife does not see the border. Deer, foxes, rare birds, they move freely between both sides. Nature here does not care about politics. And honestly, maybe that is the wisest thing in this entire story. Culture traditions. Every country has a soul. Transnistria's soul is stuck beautifully, painfully in the past. Clothing, walk through any market in Tiraspol in the morning. You will see older women in bright, colorful headscarves carrying heavy bags with strong, quiet hands. Men in dark, military-style jackets walking slowly, speaking little. No fast fashion, no brand logos, no trends. The clothes here are simple, practical, built to last. Because in Transnistria, you do not buy new things when the old ones still work. That is not poverty. That is a way of life. Victory Day, but once a year, everything explodes with color and emotion. The 9th of May, Victory Day. This is the biggest day in Transnistria. The day Soviet forces defeated Nazi Germany in World War II. And here, it is not just history. It is identity. The streets fill with people. Old veterans walk slowly in their uniforms, chests heavy with medals. Children wave red and orange ribbons. Military parades march through Tiraspol with boots hitting the ground like thunder. People cry. People cheer. People sing old Soviet songs they have known since childhood. In the rest of Europe, this war is remembered quietly. In museums, in textbooks. Here it is felt. Every single year. In the chest. In the throat. In the tears on an old man's face. Weddings, if Victory Day is the biggest public celebration, then weddings are the biggest private ones. A Transnistrian wedding does not last one day. It lasts 3. The first day, the families meet. Food is prepared. Tables are loaded. The house smells of fresh bread, roasted meat, and sweet jam. The second day, the ceremony. Folk music fills the air. Women in traditional dresses dance in circles. Men pour vodka and toast to health, love, and long life. The third day, nobody goes home. More food, more music, more stories. In a country where life is hard, celebrations are taken seriously. Joy here is not wasted. 3 languages, 1 people, here is something that will make your head spin. Transnistria has 3 official languages: Russian, Moldovan, Ukrainian. A child can switch between all 3 before finishing breakfast. Street signs appear in multiple scripts. A grandmother speaks Russian. Her grandchild answers in Moldovan. The neighbor calls out in Ukrainian. And somehow, nobody is confused. Language here is not a wall. It is a bridge. The golden era, but perhaps the most fascinating part of Transnistrian culture is what people actually believe. Ask an elderly person here about the Soviet times. They will not talk about fear. They will not talk about control. They will smile. They will tell you about free education, free healthcare, jobs for everyone, neighbors who left their doors unlocked, a time when nobody was hungry and nobody was alone. To the outside world, the Soviet Union was a dark chapter. To many people here, it was home. And Transnistria is the last place on earth still trying to keep that home alive. Food local specialties. In Transnistria, food is not a luxury. Mamaliga, the national dish, has no fancy name, no expensive ingredients. It is called mlig. Simple cornmeal, boiled slowly until thick and heavy, served with sour cream, farmer's cheese, or a fried egg on top. It does not look like much, but one bowl fills you for hours. This is the food that kept people alive through wars, winters, and collapsed economies. Grandmothers made it. Their grandmothers made it before them. In Transnistria, mamaliga is not just food. It is history in a bowl. Piroshki, walk any street in Tiraspol and the smell will find you first. Fried dough, hot oil, something warm and golden. That is piroshki, small stuffed bread pockets, fried until crispy, filled with potato, cabbage, or minced meat. They cost almost nothing. They taste like everything. Every corner, every market, every school gate. Piroshki is always there. Kvass, now for the strange one. Kvass, a drink made from fermented black bread. It sounds wrong. It looks like muddy water. The first sip makes you stop and think. But the second sip, you understand. Slightly sour, slightly sweet, cold and fizzy on a hot summer day. In Transnistria, kvass is sold from big yellow tanks on the street. People line up with their own cups. Old men drink it like tea. Children drink it like juice. No Coca-Cola needed. The table is always open. Here is something no restaurant menu can teach you. In Transnistria, if you enter someone's home, you will be fed. No question asked. No invitation needed. A stranger becomes a guest. A guest becomes family. The table gets bigger. The food keeps coming. This is not politeness. This is Soviet culture running deep, the belief that what you have, you share. No McDonald's. No problem. And one final food fact. There is no McDonald's in Transnistria. No Burger King. No international fast food chain of any kind. Instead, Sheriff Group, the powerful private company that runs much of this country, has its own supermarkets and food chains. Locals do not miss the golden arches. They have mlig. They have piroshki. They have kvass. And honestly, that is better. Bizarre laws. Every country has rules. But Transnistria has rules that the rest of the world does not even recognize. The money that works nowhere else. Remember the Transnistrian ruble. Here is the law. Every single transaction inside Transnistria must use it. Shops, markets, rent, everything. No exceptions. But the moment you cross the border, that money becomes paper. No foreign bank touches it. No exchange counter accepts it. It has no value outside these invisible borders. You are legally forced to use money that legally does not exist to the outside world. Think about that for a moment. Do not point your camera walking through Tiraspol with your phone out. Be careful. Photographing any government building here is illegal. Police will stop you. They will check your phone. They may delete your photos. In serious cases, they will take you in for questioning. No warnings. No second chances. This is not paranoia. This is a government that does not want the world looking too closely. Entering a country that doesn't exist, to enter Transnistria, you go through a checkpoint. Not a Moldovan checkpoint. Not a Ukrainian one. A Transnistrian one. Guards in their own uniforms. Their own stamps. Their own forms to fill. You register your name, your purpose, your length of stay. If you overstay, there are consequences. There are consequences. Under their rules. A border that no country recognizes, but that will absolutely turn you back if your papers are wrong. A complete system of its own, and here is what makes it truly extraordinary. Transnistria does not use Moldova's courts. It does not use Moldova's police. It does not use Moldova's army. It has built everything from scratch. Its own judges, its own prisons, its own military with real weapons and real soldiers. Moldova says this land belongs to them. But Moldova's laws stop at the Dniester River. Cross that river and you are in a completely different legal universe. A country that does not exist, but that will arrest you, fine you, and deport you just like any real one would. Crazy facts. You think you understand Transnistria now? You do not. Russia's dirty secret. Russia has never officially recognized Transnistria as an independent country. Not once. Not ever. But right now, today, Russian soldiers are stationed on Transnistrian soil. Russian military equipment sits in warehouses here. Russia sends money. Russia sends gas. Russia keeps this place breathing. Russia says it does not own this country. But Russia also never left. One company owns everything, meet Sheriff Group. A private company, founded by two former Soviet police officers in the 1990s. Today, Sheriff owns the supermarkets, the petrol stations, the television channel, the internet provider, the construction companies, and the football club FC Sheriff Tiraspol, a club from a country that does not exist, that once beat Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. Real Madrid, the most famous football club on earth, beaten by a team from an invisible country. The world did not know what to say. Hollywood came and left quietly. And finally, the strangest fact of all. A Hollywood production crew once filmed scenes inside Transnistria. They came. They set up cameras. They filmed the gray streets, the Soviet buildings, the empty parades. Most locals had no idea what was being filmed, or why strangers with expensive cameras were walking through their ordinary streets. The crew packed up and left, and Transnistria went back to being invisible. Just like always. The world is moving fast. Moldova is pushing toward the European Union. The modern world is knocking on the door. But Transnistria is looking the other way, toward Russia. Toward a past that the rest of the world has already buried. Nobody knows what comes next. And in the middle of all this uncertainty, 450,000 people just live their lives. They wake up. They feed their children. They tend their gardens. They pour kvass. They dance at 3-day weddings. They cry at Victory Day parades. In a country that no map shows, that no government recognizes, that no passport confirms, but that is, without any doubt, completely, stubbornly, beautifully real. The world forgot about Transnistria. Transnistria never forgot about itself.